Hey guys, welcome to Clockwork, Dan to Noodles. For the last time, I'm going to be breaking down the final episode of Season 2, Part 2, The Ancient Magus Bride. This was a very good episode. I want to talk through a few bits and pieces. Also, I want to give you my final score on what I thought about this season as a whole. I will be giving you my score for the whole Season 2 because I know it was split into cores, but I'll give you my overall score for the whole thing. Thank you guys so much for tuning in and sticking with me this whole time. I know my reviews aren't the greatest, but it is amazing to be able to chat to you guys. It has been an interesting year. I am going to be bringing out my end of season review in about a week. Just need to have everything finished now so I can give you my final thoughts. After that, we're going to have the Anime of the Year award, and I'm also going to go through some channel recognition. A big thank you because it is our second year now of breaking down anime. We've grown a little bit, so it's nice to get all the noodlings in one place. Just thank you guys so much for your continued support. If this is my last video you're going to be watching before Christmas, have a Merry Christmas from me. I am going to be bringing out 2 videos on Christmas Day. Make sure you check those out. One will be a fun Iona Christmas anime video, and the second one's going to be Zom 100. It will be episode number 10. Let's get straight to it because episode 12 gives us a lot of answers, but it does set up a lot of questions and it sets up season 3. Whether or not we're going to get a season 3, I will keep my eyes peeled. It does seem like we are going to get it. I think this season in general was an interesting one to convey, and from what I've gathered from talking to you guys is the manga in a sense was still slow, but it was handled a bit differently. So maybe it just wasn't the best adaptation of pace. Now the content itself is absolutely fine, it's just handling of it and presenting it. Now let's talk about the episode. The cursed book initially apparently handling better by a human, yet we have seen the damage that it's done. It drains its users, it causes like curses, it breaks them apart. The book itself has blank pages, which I think I like, because it would seem that the book, the curse itself, is more of a subconscious thing, because when she does go to this final bit against Granny, it's not in the realm that she say others are surrounding her. It's like she's gone within to talk to her, like a subconscious plane. I love the filter that they lay over this section because it's like a sepia tone. Just so you know, it's not the main location, it's not the present time. This talk between Granny and Philomela is perhaps near enough last talk they actually get, and again it's just something I learnt this week. I think it stuck with me because I remember seeing it is manipulative person will always be upset when you start to stand up for yourself. I like that because this is how I also view this episode, this roundup when it comes to Granny versus Philomela. All this time she's been manipulating her, and even in the end she doesn't say anything particularly nice at all. There's not really a great deal of remorse about how she's treated her, nothing like that. It's just a very sad end in a sense. I would say that the ending on this Granny thing is very bittersweet. The essential talk between the two is just sad. It's a nice show of power for Philomela as she starts to come into her own. Culmination of all of her friends, all of season 2, has led to this moment where Philomela is able to stand up against her abuser and say, you know, enough is enough. I'm not doing this anymore. I can say no to you. I have the power to say no. It's a very powerful sequence. The idea of just being able to finally break free of something toxic. It's only right that the person who gets to talk to Granny and deal with Granny at the end is her. I did put this before I obviously watched the bit with the hit. It still feels right that it was Philomela who was the one to say, hey, this has to end. The artwork is just beautiful. This episode, you can tell when they tend to spend money is when they're throwing a lot of these very beautiful shots. And you can imagine that this is a spread in a manga page and it looks gorgeous. And it looks gorgeous on the screen. The colour is beautiful. The cursed art as well, how creepy and trippy it was when the eye opens up and you got the whoos and everything. That was creepy. It's a great beautiful contrast to see this compared to how Philomela is now coming into her own and seeing how all season she's been very meek and now she gets to become her own person. She gets to stand up and it's a very beautiful moment. What did Chisei sacrifice to get Morrigan? And actually it wasn't as bad as I thought. I honestly thought I had heard her say, you're going to give me your first daughter. And I was like, oh, that's really weird. She hasn't had a kid and that's really sad if she has to sacrifice a kid, Rumpelstiltskin style. It's not that, and I'm glad that it's not that, but I still do think that they didn't do the greatest justice to the character Morrigan. As you guys did say, she's a really cool character, but in the anime it felt really quick. The end episode is really cool with her. the bit with her by the tree is really, really cool. I just felt like I needed a bit more, or perhaps I needed that bit to be slowed down a bit and maybe have a bit more with her. But she is a really cool character. I don't know if we'd see her again, because from what I gathered with the end bit and the whole meaning behind it is it's birthing the new year in. So she's like the god for the year, then she births a new one and it comes to the end. But we will have to see, because I'm sure we'll see the girl who was born at the beginning of this year. Next season, maybe she'll come back and she'll be older by the end of it, perhaps. That's my take on that. Obviously, the manga readers, you'll have the give me the knowledge. Just have a little chuckle as I'm having these guesses. We don't want any spoilers, because we've had a lot of that issue going on with the Apothecary Diaries. I love the show, but I have been spoiled a lot by the comments. Ending is very bittersweet. I initially started writing that Granny would be forever alone, and she's going to be alone in her anger, and she's just going to be old and cursed, and she comes out of it looking haggard, very old. And whether it's because all of the negative stuff has come back to her, like the threefold law has hit her in the face and she's finally getting the weight of all of her crimes. I did think it was, again, bittersweet too, because Philomela, the Adam lookalike, just vanishes. And at the same time, she's never going to be able to bring back her family. They're gone. They're not coming back. It's nice that she's got these beautiful memories come back, but they are also from the perspective of somebody else. So she's not actually seeing that person's perspective, because she also got very close to Alcyone. I love the ending, but I also am sad for the ending. But it's very much Ancient Magus Bride all over. Ancient Magus Bride series, it's a nice series, but it's also quite dark. A lot of the endings aren't supposed to be very overly happy. The ending we get this time around is pretty happy, but there's a lot of tinges of sadness, a bit of bittersweetness going on, and I think that's just normal. The twist that Granny gets assassinated, it's this point when I think a lot of things are starting to connect the dots with me, because all this time I've been hating on Veronica. The show wanted me to do it. People were like judging me for doing it, but the show, the anime itself, is styled to make you think that. There's a lot of shots that make you feel uncomfortable with her. There's a lot of lingering. There's a lot of things that she does that's meant to make you feel something's not quite there. And again, it makes sense, because we are told off the bat, the sergeants, they're supposed to serve the Veronica family. Liz was serving their family, and obviously we saw Philomela serving Veronica in the school type situation, so it hasn't come as a surprise. The big surprise to me was the werewolf child, and the fact that the werewolf child is actually working for that family. The grandma is taken out by the werewolf child is one of those where you're like, oh, I wonder who's going to actually land the blow, because at one point it could have been Adam's curse, at one point it could have been the curse itself, and it comes down to something that you don't even predict, because I still thought the werewolf kids were dead. Liz wasn't technically lying, they were alive, it's just they were with somebody else. It wasn't in her control to bring them back, because I guess if she had them, they went to whoever she was serving, they went to a higher need. There's also the question of the guy that Liz married, maybe they're still around, who is Veronica's parents. So these are all obviously questions we're setting up for season 3. There's a lot of mysteries continuing. The fact that Granny doesn't tell Philomela about the Lucy attack and why it happened actually seems to spare Philomela from having her name added to the hit list. I think that's perhaps the last nice thing she did, because I don't think she would have told her. She maybe predicted she was going to get assassinated. It seems like that is the true mystery at hand. Somebody led that attack. Somebody actually orchestrated it. Maybe Granny knew about it and obviously she was just carrying out orders. Those orders came from someone else. They didn't come from Granny. Granny was acting under somebody else's orders. Why was that actually orchestrated? Why was that the case? Wondering now Veronica thing and how long that's going to take to actually show up, because I don't think that's going to be the next season, because the next season seems to be a different setting and a different person entirely, and I think I recognise him. So at some point, I guess down the line, the Veronica thing is a loose thread for now. It's going to come back. So the book's gone. I didn't quite get the bit where Chisei says to Elias that you don't care. That bit didn't make sense to me. Maybe she's just saying you don't care that the book's gone because you don't actually want the book or something. Maybe somebody can enlighten me to what you think Chisei meant by saying you don't care at that point. The episode then literally turns halfway. Overexposed sequence of the snow, the sun bouncing off the snow, creating that whitewash effect. I've got a lot of praise for the snow sequence in general. It's also the perfect time, and I don't know about you guys, maybe more me because I'm actually in the UK. If you are watching from the UK as well, you saw those Christmas scenes and you saw the traditional bits and pieces like the dried fruit. You might have felt nostalgic. I felt really Christmassy just seeing those scenes themselves. I'm not big into Christmas. I work in retail. I hate Christmas generally. But when I saw those sequences in the snow, them getting the mistletoe, getting the holly, trying to make the decorations for the tree, that made me feel a bit festive inside, just a little bit. It stoked a little fire within me. It's such a nice sequence. And the reason why I do love The Ancient Magus Bride, as much as I've said this season wasn't my favourite, I love it because of these folklore aspects. I love it because, again, it's set in the UK. I can go, oh, actually, I know this. I'm learning some more stuff about culture as well, which is very, very nice. It just feels so homey and it's very pagan. And I love the addition of putting these characters into this Christmassy setting, because obviously we've come round. I absolutely love the fact that it's snowing, and I love the animation where Roof actually licks his nose to get the snowflake off his nose. Love the fact as well that we're probably not going back to college. The whole setting made me feel very trapped. Obviously, we've established that that was the key point. You're meant to feel very entrapped in that situation because that's how Philomela herself is feeling. It's a very much a Philomela-driven season in anything. Looking back on this season with the knowledge I have now and seeing actually this means this means that kind of thing, I think I've overvisited the college arc now, and I think I'm kind of done with this section. It's going to be fun to see where we go next. I absolutely love the art, the snow section in general, the red cheeks as well because it's cold. It did remind me a little bit of the Snowman. I don't know if everyone's seen it, I guess the US and maybe the UK, but there is the animated Snowman film, got the famous song We're Walking in the Air in it. The artwork in that kind of reminded me of this because it's very white out, it's very cartoony, the lines are there, it's happy. There's not a single shadow, there's no contrast, nobody's put in the darkness, it's light, it's fluffy. It's such a nice carefree lift, and it shows you how free the characters suddenly are. Philomela is suddenly free to wish, she can desire whatever she wants. She's allowed to suddenly feel overburdened by the choice of what fabric she likes, and very nice things that she should be worrying about. She shouldn't be worrying about appeasing somebody. She should worry about what colour she likes or what she wants to eat the next day, that kind of thing. Such a beautiful moment. I love the aspect of the pagan folklore. I absolutely love all these things for Ancient Magus Bride in general. Morrigan's scene was really, really nice at the end. This, again, I felt like they could have done more with it. Love the fact that it's only mistletoe she wanted, because for the longest time I thought she was after something very dark. I love the fact it's benevolent, and of course the birth of a new season, which is really, really nice. I guess it reminded me a bit of the Persephone and Hades thing. When she goes away, winter takes over. When she comes back, it is spring. I love that idea. That those kind of stories, that kind of folklore, superstition, all of that lot, is up my street. Really, really enjoy it. That's the kind of things that I like in my animes. It's why I'll go for a lot of supernatural animes. The snowdrops getting earlier and earlier, it is actually a sign of climate change, because essentially winters are getting warmer. We had a very, very ice cold snap. It's gone. We're back to being wet and windy. I would say it's cold, but I wouldn't say it's as cold as it was. We're not going to have snow for Christmas, but we might get a snow snap in maybe February or March. It is very nice. I absolutely love the artwork at this point. The slideshows about what a traditional British Christmas would have looked like back in the day before smartphones and stuff. This bit was nice. This bit was warming. Honestly, I wasn't expecting a Christmas episode, but I'm very happy to end on one because it is 4 days to Christmas. So I really hope you guys are looking after yourselves and have some really nice things planned, even if it's just a break. I think in my case, I am over hours right now. I'm tired. I've got a lot on. I need a break too. I am going in annoyingly for an hour at Christmas to do some work, but after that I'm actually looking forward to just actually being able to not do anything or not actually talk to people, because I am seeing so many members of the public. I feel like I'm all peopled out right now. The tease at the end about Veronica actually being the one who is commanding the werewolf child, it's not a shock. I don't think anybody in the audience is shocked by this reveal, because it's been highlighted, it's been like signposted so obviously in the anime all through the seasons. Obviously where we're going to go at some point for the future of this plot line. There's more to the story of why the Websters were attacked, and we need to know why. We need to know a bit more about Veronica. Obviously, we knew that it was all about duty. These big families have their duties. They serve one another, or they're at war with certain families and stuff. So we knew there was more to it. It's just going to be a case of when they will pick up on that storyline, because I don't think season 3 is going to be that storyline. It does seem to be gearing towards a different direction. Now, I absolutely love the Joseph and Chisei section. It is really, really cute. It's actually unexpectedly cute. I wasn't actually expecting it to get this cute. Love the fact that she steals the pillow. Love the fact that she then steals the blanket, but wasn't expecting the headrest bit. When he put his head on her, but I don't know, I got the tingles. I was like, oh, well, that's kind of cute. That's actually really cute and close. I actually like that, because it's the first time Chisei's put herself first. You know what? There's nothing wrong with sometimes putting yourself first. Maybe Joseph is meant to be representing that extreme, but at the same time, he's also teaching her to stand on her own 2 feet and actually stand up a little bit, which is really, really nice. And in general, it was a very warm scene, despite the fact it's at the bottom of a well. The Lucy and Philomela bit was really, really heartwarming, with the two starting to interact very nicely together, because even in season 2 part 1, ending was all about the 3 girls laying in a field. And I remember having all 3 of them together. That's how I knew that the 3 of them were going to be the key players. All 3 of them at some point were going to be friends. The OPs, EDs, they often give you a lot of little key hints if you look at them deep enough. Was expecting them to be close at some point. It's just finally taken to the end of the season for it to happen. I love the fact that she just doesn't know what colour she wants. What are my preferences? She's not had a chance to be her own person, and now she's allowed to be her own person. She's overwhelmed. So I love the fact that Lucy goes, you know what? You don't have to pick one. You can pick as many as you want. Why stick to just limiting yourself? Really like the sequence. I love the fact that the animation on the fabric in the light is beautiful. You can see the light coming through the fabrics. Really nice effect. When these guys want to go hard, they can go hard on their animation. They are really good at doing it when they do. I love the fact as well that all of them end up apologising to her. So it's a really nice little moment. And all these friends are all going to be very powerful friends. A really nice happy ending for these guys. Happier ending than most of the Ancient Magus Bride episodes generally end with. So I guess it's abnormal for me. But at some point we're perhaps going to get a happy ending with the whole show. Perhaps the prettiest frame of Philomela is actually where her eyes look more red than purple, because they now match with her mother's. I love this moment. I love the fact that as well, everybody finally gets to see her laugh, which is something that perhaps they've always wanted, and her to actually just be a normal person and enjoy life. Really touching moment. It's beautiful. I love the fact as well that the season ends with green sleeves. And then the tease for chapter 3 or season 3. It seems to be taking place against the dragon guy. Remember the dragon guy? I think it's the dragon guy. I can't remember his name. The guy with the blue eyes and the blonde hair. It's him. For some reason, he's not going to be an ally. I don't know why. Maybe something to do with the dragon, because we saw Chisei turn into a dragon. Maybe it's going to be something to do with that. It would seem that we're going to have a different direction next season. Probably will work better, because I think being trapped in one location was a bit of a sticking point, especially if it's not perhaps edited or animated or handled or even portrayed in quite the right way. I think you will run the risk of things becoming a little bit stale. And I think a lot of my issues with the season as a whole were more, there's a lot of characters, there's a lot going on, remembering everyone's names, and things moving so slowly. Things will be so mundane, then suddenly things will happen and you'll be like, wait, I don't actually remember who that person was. I found it very easy to lose track of people's names. A lot of that might have come down to the fact that I haven't seen season 1 in a while. At some point I'll probably do it back to back, but I will say overall I think it's not my favourite season. There's lots of beautiful moments. I think the end episode's very strong, but I don't think it's my favourite season as a whole. I will stick with this show just because I do love a lot about the Ancient Magus Bride. I just don't think it was its best arc, perhaps. I don't think it was a bad season either. Overall, I'd be very happy to give it a 7. It's neither bad nor good. We've already established that my mean score on Mal is 7.2. Slightly below my mean, but it's not bad either. There's shows out there that are doing a lot worse this season. This season's been a bit of an interesting one, but if you want my thoughts on the season as a whole, do check out the end of season review. I thought it was okay. There was a lot of times where I was just plodding along with it, going, okay, this is happening. It's not really got my attention. It didn't grab me. But then the pace would go very quickly from 0 to 60. Maybe it's a case that the manga perhaps did this one better than the anime did. Certainly not my favourite show of the season. I don't know where I'm going with my top 3 yet. I haven't actually picked it out. You'll have to tune into that video in particular to see when I finally decide. There's a lot of moments where you're like, oh, I wish they'd spent more time on that, or I wish they'd spent less time doing this and done this. Happy that it's come to an end. I'm happy that they are thinking about a 3rd season. Hopefully the 3rd season and the next arc will be stronger. I've had fun watching it. I've had fun breaking it down with you guys. I'm glad you guys have tuned in for the ride. Thank you for tuning in for the ride. I hope you guys as well have a fantastic Christmas. And I hope that you have checked out my winter overview video, lined out what I'm doing next season, what I'm going to be watching, what I'm breaking down on the channel. Let me know on that video what videos you're tuning in for next season. And I will hope to see you guys all again soon. Take care of yourselves, guys, and bye-bye.